Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to be doing an interview with Monica Sohler, who is running for political office under the banner of the American Solidarity Party. Hey, Monica.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you. So, Monica, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let me see. Boy. Well, I live in New Jersey, where I'm running for office. I've been married for about 30-something years. I am a mom to 5 kids who were primarily homeschooled. I am a grandma to 4, 2 internal and 2 external. One is going to be external momentarily. I used to work at the Franklin Institute Science Museum in Philadelphia. I live very close to Philadelphia. In fact, I can see Philadelphia from my window. I'm not sure what else. I'm a big science fiction fan. I have run for local office before, and right now I'm running for state assembly in New Jersey.
So tell us a little bit about that. State assembly. In Texas, we have the 2 different houses. Tell us a little bit about the position you're running for.
We have that here too. So you have a state senate and a state assembly. So it's sort of the equivalent of the House of Representatives, would be at a federal level. That's what the assembly is in New Jersey.
Excellent. So you've run before. Why do you run for office? What motivates you to run for political office?
Usually I'm asked. In a way, it's kind of comical. Sometimes you see in the movies, like everybody's in a line and they say, whoever volunteers step forward and everyone else steps back. So I feel a little bit like that. Although the thing is, I think it's a civic duty to be involved. Now, my youngest is going off to college. I don't have the obligations I had before. And although I think most long-term human solutions come from within each human heart, change has to start here. There certainly is a place for political involvement, and I have no reason not to do it now. And since I received an email, asking, would you be willing to consider this? And I talked to some people in the party, and I said, yeah, because we all have a part to, we need to do something. And this is something I am able to do right now. And it's something I have done before. I ran for borough council here in my hometown. I lost by a few votes. It is a very difficult process. I didn't do this lightly because politics is not friendly. But I don't know if it's just because I'm older or maybe I'm just gotten dumber as I'm older. I have a thick skin. And some of the things that you most need to do, you have to go ahead and do them and not worry about what other people will say or what they'll think. You do the best you can and you move forward. So.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you come to the American Solidarity Party?
Okay. The answer I gave when I posted on Facebook, where, by the way, I use my maiden name, Monica Tully, not because I'm trying to be secret, but because I've edited it a number of times and Sohler never gets put up. So I'm Monica Tully Sohler, but you'll see me on Facebook as Monica Tully. What I wrote there, I actually left out one of my inspirations, who was Sean Daly, who was editor of Gilbert Magazine, one of the G.K. Chesterton people, is really one of the first people that introduced me to the notion of distributism and that whole philosophy. Now, my 2 oldest children, Joseph is 32 and Annie is 30, and they're both big Chesterton fans. Joseph lists his political connection on Facebook as distributist. And this past election, I had started out as a Democrat. And when Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, Bob Casey Sr., who is deceased now, to me was the last real pro-life Democrat. When he was sat next to the kitchen by Bill Clinton at the Democratic convention, and I'm forgetting the details now, but the Democratic Party was making a statement against pro-life people when that happened. And I ditched my Democratic affiliation. And I came into the Republican Party. When I moved to Jersey, I was listed as unaffiliated. We don't have independent, we have unaffiliated. But to vote in a primary, you declare an affiliation. And I voted for a Republican in a primary, became Republican. And I found the Republican platform, because of its pro-life stance, it fit me a little bit better, but I had never been completely comfortable there either. And this past election, I couldn't in conscience vote for either candidate. So my daughter, Annie, who currently lives in New Zealand, but she's a student, so she votes absentee, she said, you have to look into the Solidarity Party. And I did, and that's where my vote went. I found that the core principles of especially the dignity of the human person. We have a wide variety of views of how you achieve certain goals, but the foundational notion, the dignity of the human person, social justice, that term is a loaded term, but take all the political connotations off it. It's important. Working for a more peaceful world. I'm looking down here because I always leave one out. Oh, care for the stewardship, I would say, of the environment. These are, if we have those as our general principles, how we enact them, that will work out. So you have people that are more conservative, traditionally conservative politically, and you have people that are more traditionally liberal politically. That's just talking about different ways to enact them. But we agree, we are in solidarity on the principles. And that really drew me to the party. I think that speaking to people who think differently than you do, even about the foundational principles outside of the party, that's a way to learn to solve problems. So if you have someone that believes in, say, more political action on a certain issue and someone who believes more hands off, if you can speak together in charity, you'll often find a solution is in the middle. But you have to speak together. And one of the biggest problems to me in politics right now is this factions, forming all these factions that circle the wagons and just shoot at the other side. Nobody's going to find any solutions doing that. That's a huge problem. And I'm drawn in the Solidarity Party to the fact that it doesn't always show up on Facebook because Facebook is nuts. No matter what happens, Facebook is always nuts. You just have to kind of put a translator on Facebook to take some of the nuttiness off when you read posts. But my experience speaking to people in the party is that there is an underlying charity there, and that these differences in opinion do get worked out because they agree on the foundational principles. And I really think that's needed desperately in politics on the local and national level right now.
I agree completely. It's one of the things that drew me to the party as well. Now, if there are other American Solidarity Party members who might be interested or thinking of running, what would you say to them to help kind of encourage them?
First, I'd say pray. We definitely, our party is, one of the people who signed my petition is an atheist, but he agrees with the principles of the party. But if you're a praying person, pray. And I think most of the people I've spoken to do that and see if this is what you're being called to. Because to me, what you're called to is more important than what you want. I also would say go for it. Winning or losing is not the main thing. It's just going for it, because doors open once you jump in. Talk to other people. I feel, when I was first asked, I said, I don't feel like I'm the best qualified person to do this. And I believe I was talking to Matthew at the time. Said, it might have been Michael, said, that sometimes is something good in a candidate. If you don't feel like it's something you can do, but you're willing to try and you're willing to learn, maybe it is something. Maybe you're the kind of candidate who's needed. So don't let any feelings of inadequacy stop you from doing it. Go for it. If nothing else, it's going to make people aware of the party and aware of the principles we have. And that, it has to be done. I felt like almost I had no choice, because I can sit and complain and moan about things, or I can do something. So yes. I said, I've got to do something. Just got to do something.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you. And you have a lot of experience actually running for office. So if they say, okay, I'm going to do this, what is the next step? After they decide to run, what's the next steps that they need to take?
Well, it depends where you're running, because there's different laws in different states. Now, in New Jersey, I am listed as an independent candidate because they don't recognize the Solidarity Party. But under my name, it will say American Solidarity Party, even though above it, there's an I. I would say, first of all, get in contact with your state chair and speak to the people on the elections committee. Go to the website I went to New Jersey Department of State Elections Division, and I refreshed my memory on the ways to do a petition, the rules of it. The worst thing that'll happen is you'll mess up something and you won't get on the ballot, but you'll know next time what to do. If you have people around you that know the system, have them help you. I have people that have volunteered to help me that are not members of the Solidarity Party, but they know me. I have one person signed very joyfully for me, big Bernie Sanders supporter, probably to the left of me on a number of issues, but she said, and we disagree on some very important issues, some foundational solidarity issues. But she said to me, but I know you. And I think it's more important to have someone in office, someone who will listen to a different point of view than it is to have someone who agrees with you. She supported me, and she's also in politics herself. I really appreciated that. It meant a lot to me. But you can get advice from all these different people who might not be in your party, but are willing to help you because they know you. And you would be surprised how many people are willing to do that. But make use of the people in the party too. So to get your information. And Mr. Google is your friend. Okay, so they look up, go to your State Department of Elections and see what's required. And don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. It's the only way you learn. So.
Excellent. I love that reminder that people might be running as independents under the banner of American Solidarity Party just because of the way their state laws work, and that bridging out to other people, because that's so much about what the American Solidarity Party is about.
Yep.
My other question is, as you've been going out and interacting with people and getting the signatures and things that you need, what do you think people are responding to most about the American Solidarity Party?
With the signatures, I would say one thing that helped me the most was going to people who knew me, quite honestly. As far as what people respond to in the American Solidarity Party, I would say, especially among young people, there is much less. The Democratic Party has become the party of abortion. And there's, even among people who define themselves as pro-choice, there's less of an interest in that being a major issue. But there's a great deal of interest in having a balanced approach to helping your fellow man. And also, when you go out, listen to others. And if they feel like they have someone that's going to listen to them, that's a big help too. What appeals most about the party? I would say, ask me that again in a month, and I'll probably be able to give you a more detailed answer. A lot of people will sign your petition because they believe that you should have a right to be on the ballot, no matter what your position is. And so don't think people won't sign for you. Some people won't, but a lot of people will, even if they disagree with you. And I strongly feel you need to be honest about your positions. I don't believe in being, I don't want to be cagey. Well, this person thinks this, so I'll change my answer to suit them. That to me is just dishonest. And sometimes I might be a little too blunt, but it's better to be straightforward about what you believe, and people will respond to that even if they disagree with you. Okay, they'll respect that, and you'll be surprised who will support you if you do that.
That's wonderful. That's so great. Thank you. Well, we're just going to end our interview. I was inspired by Inside the Actors Studio. I've just got some random off-the-cuff questions for you. So just try not to overthink it and just kind of respond with your first gut instinct. What is your favorite word?
Ubiquitous. Because it sounds cool. It's like something a fish would be saying underwater.
And what's your least favorite word?
No.
Yeah. That's my children's favorite word.
Yeah, it used to be my favorite word when I was much younger. Mm-hmm.
And what issues really get you on your soapbox?
Pro-life. Since the time I was 14 years old, I had a teacher in public school. They get in trouble for doing it now, but who staged sort of a mock trial with one side and the other side. And at that point, you know, when you're a teenager and it was the 1970s and you're thinking about whether or not you're going to go sleep with someone or something, abortion was on my mind. It was legal. And I thought, yeah, if that was me, I would get an abortion. And this teacher, in the scope of this trial, he was showing pictures of fetal development and all this. And I thought, you know, before I get myself in a situation like that, I should find out what this is about. And I looked into it thanks to that teacher, and I was horrified. I grew up Catholic, and there was nothing. I heard nothing about abortion in Catholic schools, nothing at all, because of the time period I was in. It was all fairly new. So this teacher in public school really inspired me to look for the truth. And I was horrified by it. So I definitely became a pro-lifer early on. And it's so funny because as a teenager, I was an atheist. So there wasn't a religious component to that. It was biology, and it was obvious to me. So that is something that definitely, I feel like the unborn are a class of human beings that's disregarded and considered non-persons, and they need a voice. I also very much am into the pro-life for the whole life. Okay, birth doesn't end care for people. It's only the beginning. Subsidiarity gets me on my soapbox a little bit. There's that SAT word that pops up every now and then in the party, the dreaded S word. The notion that the people closest to the problem are usually the ones that should figure out how to solve it. That doesn't mean I think you should stay on the local level. I did kind of look into the libertarian a little bit, but I couldn't, there wasn't the notion of the common good that the Solidarity Party has. But I do think the local level is the best place to start to solve things and not to move up unless you can't solve it on that level. So that's something that gets me on my soapbox a little bit. Now, as far as, the common good, pro-life for the whole life, the people on the level closest to the problem, for example, the social workers, the ones that work with people that have issues, should be the ones who are working on the policies to deal with it, because they're in the trenches. They see it every day. They're not off looking at a study some group did and detached from the people. They're there with the people they're helping. So that's where subsidiarity really comes into play, and why I can get in a soapbox about it, because I believe in solving problems and solving human problems in a way that preserves human dignity. And I think the people closest to it are the ones that should have the first opportunity to come up with solutions.
Awesome. Favorite movie?
Oh, we were just talking about The Princess Bride, but I think I'm going to skip over that. This is one not too many people know. It's The Secret of Ronin-ish. And if you've never seen it, watch it.
I'll have to put that on my list.
The Secret of Ronin-ish. And watch to the end, otherwise you'll just be crying too hard to get through it.
Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
What profession other than my own would I like to attempt? Boy, it would really go against the principles of the party if I'd say I'd just like to be independently wealthy and like fly to the Caribbean when I wanted. All right, come on. All of us have that somewhere in our head, no matter what we may think ethically. Professional hobo. Now, the thing is, and one thing about homeschooling, I homeschooled my kids. And I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Drexel University, but I learned so much homeschooling my own kids. I would do anything, because I found out that when you go out, when you're interested in something and go out and try to learn it, it's so much fun. And that's another thing, running for office. A lot of things I don't know, but it's a chance to learn new things. So, boy, I could answer yes to almost any profession. I think I might go back to what I wanted to do when I was 9 and be a paleontologist. Study those dinosaur bones. I love science, and part of me always wanted to be a scientist. So maybe that.
Very cool. When the world has got you down, what's your best way to get back up?
Prayer and singing. Now, it might not, if I sing, it might not be a good way to get you back up, okay? Because I don't have the best voice in the world. But I find just singing can really lift your spirits. I can walk around the house and just start singing.
Do you have a favorite genre or style or time period of music, or just anything?
I have been a major Beatle fan since 1965. I was 5 years old in 1965. And I have seen all of them. I met John Lennon in 1975. And I've gone to about 3 different Ringo Starr concerts. I love the Beatles. I love the Beatles. I also love Pete Seeger. I love folk music. I guess the last concert I went to was Arlo Guthrie. So I love both world folk music, like Irish folk music, Scottish folk music, and I like more early 1960s folk music as well. And the Beatles will always win for me of anything.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time. Audience.
Well, thank you for having me.
Audience members, if you'd like to follow Monica's campaign, please tune in later this summer. Faith Roberts is going to be coming out with an American Solidarity Party podcast. So tune in there to find out all the information about how her campaign is going. And I just want to say thank you again, Monica. Have a great day.